What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness.
So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel.
So let's start this video with the recent physique update from classic physique legend Breon. So now that we are almost 14 weeks out from this year's Mr. Olympia, it's looking pretty clear at this point that Breon will be taking this whole year off. And that too for the very first time since 2016. So after 9 years of consistently doing the Olympia, always placing in the top 4 to top 5 spots, he fully deserves to have 1 year off, travel around, enjoy, live his life. And that is what Breon did for most part of this year. And he himself admits that it was pretty hard for him to even maintain his current physique. So putting on extra mass, extra muscle, that wasn't even possible while doing all this under these circumstances. Although we always wanted to see Breon competing in a bigger division without any weight cap, without any restrictions, because we wanted to see his physique and how it looks like when he isn't forcing himself to lose muscle, the fullness to make the weight cut off, which he did for 9 years straight in classic physique. Now he did make the switch to the 212, but in my opinion that was a little too late. So the fact is he has all the refinement, all the muscle maturity in the world, and the man is very polished. But one cannot deny that the age factor here, that is gonna play a major role if he decides to pursue 212, maybe next year. He is gonna be 46 years old in November, and there hasn't been any bodybuilder who was able to make any kind of improvements at that kind of age, especially in the quads, in the lower half. Yes, we have some people maintaining their physiques, but putting on more muscle, that is pretty damn difficult. Even the great Dexter Jackson, he was only holding on to all that muscle that he already had built. Now I'm pretty sure Breon used this year to clean out, detox, and he must be on very little stuff, very little PEDs at the moment. But the 212 division, that is gonna be very tough for him, especially if he doesn't show up with bigger legs and bigger quad sweep. So a little over 4 weeks time left till we see Quinton Beastwood back on the stage after almost 1 year. So he announced way back that he will be doing Tempo Pro this year, and he seems to be extremely satisfied with the way things have progressed during this entire prep, with him coaching himself since the New York Pro last year. Now if I'm not mistaken, him and John Jewett, they might be the only two pros who are coaching themselves for this upcoming Tempo Pro show. And Quinton is definitely gonna be the one to watch out for at this upcoming Tempo Pro. Now he doesn't wanna get ready very early like he did for the New York Pro, and he lost a ton of muscle and a ton of mass, especially in the last 4 weeks leading into that show. He was doing too much cardio, eating very little amount of carbs, and the food intake, that was also very low. But this time he wants to be ready on the day of the show, which is the right call. And the type of aesthetics and the type of frame that Quinton has, the kind of structure that he possesses, if this guy is on, he is gonna be very difficult to stand next to. No matter who shows up in any kind of lineup, he's gonna stand out. I mean, we saw him with guys like Akeem Williams and him dwarfing him. So no one is gonna be taking up more space than Quinton on the stage, and no one is gonna be more aesthetically pleasing than him. So the last full physique update that Quinton posted, they were at 6 weeks out mark, and just looking at the first two mandatories, the front double biceps and the front lat spread, I do believe he's gonna beat everyone in those specific shots. Now up until last year, Quinton just had 1 weak pose, and that was the back double biceps. The back lat spread, that looked pretty awesome and considerably improved. Just for the record, he was second at Toronto Pro last year, behind Akeem Williams, where he did beat John Jewett, who went on to win Vancouver Pro, and then went on to place top 11 at the Olympia last year. So Quinton, again, I do believe has all the tools to finally make it to this year's Olympia stage. Let me know what you guys think. Next up, we have the most recent physique update from Terrence Roofen, the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro champion, heading into this year's Mr. Olympia in Classic as the guy with the most experience in this year's entire Classic physique lineup, and probably one of the favorites to challenge Mike Sommerfeld for that Olympia title this year. And Terrence hasn't been this confident that 2025 is gonna be the year where he's gonna be fighting to be the fourth man ever in classic physique division to be crowned Mr. Olympia champion. And he's gonna make history by winning every single thing in this division. Now the guy looks so damn complete in the front relaxed, and that just is a superb way to make a great first impression on the judges. And considering the fact that he sees Mike Sommerfeld as the biggest competition for him this year, adding more size to his arms, that is gonna be a top priority, as Mike has some huge guns. Now we saw some of the craziest physique updates and transformations from Terrence Roofen from back in 2023 to now. Everything got bigger, and that gave him that illusion of having a smaller waistline and an even better X-frame and a more enhanced V-taper. And one of the major reasons for that was more volume on his quads. So Terrence has always been the guy who is so masterful when it comes to posing and presentation. And that is what we saw in both the shows that he did this year. So now he's aiming to bring an even bigger and more muscular physique to this year's Olympia stage. And that is the need of the hour, especially if you look at how humongous Mike Sommerfeld looked in some of the updates that he posted after this year's Arnold. So will this be the year where Terrence finally wins his first ever classic physique Olympia title? Let me know what you guys think. So Leandro Perez was one crazy talent that we saw on the stage multiple times this year, and he did plays better than ever this year. So he was second at the Arnold Brazil against Good Vito, third in Cali Pro, beating Bruno Santos, who actually competed at Mr. Olympia last year. And if we take a look at Leandro's physique, especially individually, everything is there. He has got the size, he has the shape, he has the flow, but the comparison of him standing next to none other than the mutant Nick Walker clearly demonstrates how much thickness and density and muscularity is missing. And there is still so much difference between these two guys. Plus, on top of all that, the conditioning simply isn't there, especially in comparison to a guy who is a top 3 Olympia material. Because Leandro is someone who is just trying to qualify for the Olympia. So Leandro is another guy who hit 300 pounds mark during the off-season. And if he can have that same waist control that he has on the stage while getting bigger, he will surely be striving to get even bigger and come back a lot better next year, hunting for his first ever Olympia qualification. So watching him stand right next to Regan at Cali Pro, and Regan we all know is a very wide guy, and even then Leandro looked pretty damn competitive standing next to someone like him, and that showed his real potential. So another guy who decided to jump into very tough shows like the Pittsburgh Pro and Cali Pro, when strategically speaking, he could have had a better chance at shows for instance like Spain Pro or maybe Italy Pro. So Theo checks in at 280 plus pounds in a very good condition. So he hasn't missed his Olympia qualification for the last 3 years. So that makes him 3 times IFBB Pro Show winner. And if I have to guess, he's gonna be entering this upcoming France Pro Show, which is happening 2 weeks before the Olympia this year. So that makes him roughly 12 weeks out. Now Theo has always been superb from the front. And from the side too. He just never had enough muscle on the upper back to make a solid impact at big shows like the Olympia. Now one thing that you can almost guarantee about Theo Liguerrier is that he always brings phenomenal condition, always brings amazing detail, and this year it's gonna be no different. But this time he's aiming to come in bigger and more muscular, with more muscle maturity. So qualifying for Mr. Olympia 3 times in a row, that itself makes you the best at what you do. Now I have no idea whether any top Olympian they will decide to enter France Pro Show prior to Mr. Olympia this year, because that will be too big of a risk, unless of course you are Samson Dauda. So that makes Theo a very clear favorite to win that show. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.